sharpening iron, and we really just want to build and edify together. So with that said, I hope you're blessed and enjoy the show. Grace and peace. Yo, what up? It's Marrio Esco. I'm your host, and alongside me is my good friend and co-host, Gil Vargas.
What's going on, everybody?
And today, we're doing things a little bit differently today. Usually, we have guests that we interview. I think this is so far show 5. I want to say. I think it's show 5. And to be honest with you, to tell you a little bit around, the backstory on how this all started, I never really foresaw at one point ever doing something like this. To be 100 with you, Gil.
I would have. If you told me a few years ago that we're gonna be live on Facebook doing shows, I probably would have laughed.
Right?
Not gonna lie.
Right?
Only because you are so anti, wanting to be on the forefront.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You wouldn't think that I would.
I wouldn't think you'd be I want to do it live.
I never would have thought, bro. And to be honest with you guys, I love, creating valuable content for the listeners and the fans and the supporters and the people who just rock with me. That is my desire. My motto is, as people know that know me, is to entertain with purpose. That's really what I want to do in everything that I do. Whether I'm producing film, music, whatever. Even a simple post, whatever. My whole thing is to create something that inspires, motivates, challenges thought. That's what I think that we should be doing anyway as Christians, be the light of the world and the salt of the world. So,
especially in this day and age, there's a lot to question.
Yeah. Fact.
A lot to question.
Fact. But what initiated us doing this, we were testing beforehand. Really, I wanted to learn the live gear for an event that I was holding to see if I can live stream it to the audience that couldn't make it to the event. Really, that's what the gear was for originally. That's
actually the main reason why we got all the gear.
Yeah, and we were just testing. And then, long story short, I broke my toe.
Weirdly, that's part of the story.
It really is. I broke my toe, and I couldn't set up the camera, do all these skits. I couldn't do all this other stuff, this extra stuff that I was doing because they put me in a boot and I had to sit up on a couch for a solid month. And if you know me, I need to keep creating. That's my thing. My passion is I love to create content. And then I was thinking, you know what? I could talk on a mic.
Facts.
And I was like, you know what, let me figure out this podcast thing and let me figure out this live show thing. And then we had our first guest, which was Shadow. So Shadow was the first guest, and then after him we came in with Domingo.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of upset I missed that one.
I think is that the only one you missed?
I think so.
I think that's the only one you missed.
Yeah, because I've been in every other one. Because Shadow, I love that dude. His passion and his desire and the way he goes about everything is so encouraging. Yeah. So I'm actually still a little salty about that one.
We can bring Shadow back, man.
We're going to have to, bro, because I'm a little salty.
Shadow's always down, man. We could definitely bring Shadow back.
So shout out to Shadow, man.
Shout out to Shadow. Love you, brother. You're always welcome. You know that. So anyway, so with that said, we launched the podcast, we launched the live show, and thank you. So far, we're only 5 shows in, like I said, and so far, a lot of people been hitting me up about how blessed and edifying the show has been for them.
Thank you guys so much for the feedback. We really appreciate that. The more feedback, the better, because honestly, this whole thing, I'm sure Mara's going to get to it. We want to do this for you guys. We want to share our passion. We want to help and motivate brothers and non-brothers. We just want to put good quality content out there. So the more you guys tell us what you guys want and looking for, the better.
Yeah. So Gil right now is jumping ahead because he's excited about this.
I am.
He's super excited about it. And I'm glad that you are, man, because I've been excited about it.
I know.
Man.
It took me a little bit.
Tell you yo.
Which is weird. If you think about it, because usually I'm the one that's all about go, especially Showtime. I'm all about it. And you were actually the one that was just like, yo, man, this live, man, I don't know. We're going to do this. We're gonna make this happen. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with it.
Yeah. and then it was only a few shows in you started seeing the effects. Yeah.
I got the bug.
And shout out to everybody who's been hitting me up. Even on the podcast, there's people that don't jump in on the live, and they've been telling me they listen to the podcast, which is cool. So what I do is I create these lives, and then I strip the audio afterward, and I upload it, and then it distributes to iTunes and Google Podcasts. I don't know what's that's called, but that's there.
Google
or your podcast catcher, whatever it is that you have. Like I use Podcast Addicts, I think it's called, the app. For the Android, and that's where I pull in all the RSS feeds, and it gives me all the podcasts.
Mark gets too technical sometimes.
The podcasters know what I'm talking about, though.
RS feeds.
The podcasters know what I'm talking about. I love you guys. But as you could tell, it's just me and Gil today, and there's a reason for that. And we're gonna talk about a few things. We're gonna talk about the motive of us as Christian artists. We're going to talk about the motive that we have with the content that we're provided. And we're also going to talk about the show as well, because Gil and I have been discussing. We go back and usually we review our show and see where we can improve. A few of you guys have already been contacting me with your input, and it's been very encouraging.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. We already got a 5-star review on iTunes. I highly recommend you check out Marrio Esco, 2 R's in my name, Marrio Esco Live. You should find it on iTunes or whatever podcast catcher that you use, podcast app. Just search for the name, and if you use a podcast app and you're not on iTunes, it'll give you a link. If you can go to the link and just leave us a review, or leave us a comment, or leave us your input, your thoughts on the show, email me at music@marrioesco.com, 2 R's in my name. I love to hear feedback. I'm all about improving the show and improving everything that we create for you guys, because really at the end of the day, we're just trying to provide top-notch quality product and content for you guys to be blessed and edified and enjoy, just be entertained at the same time. So with that said, we don't have a guest today. Usually we've been doing interviews. And me and Gil started talking about, what we want to do to get better. And one of the things that Gil brought up, which I agreed with 110%, was that that we're not having a lot of conversation, like just on specific topics that we want to go in depth and like really analyze critically, and that's something that we're looking to do.
Because, I mean, it's all for you guys. So I felt like after watching the shows, don't get me wrong, like I'm not trying to throw shade at any of the, guests that we've had. Not at all. But what we arrived to is that when we're interviewing people, we're not able to connect with you guys. We're not able to really hone in on what you guys are looking for, what you guys want to hear, and things like that. So that's why we want to open it up more for dialogue, conversations, just really pick apart topics and have you guys, come in and, shout out to Mr. DeAndre Morales, showing us love. Terrence Hall, I see you joined in. We got Kevin Burkhardt, Jose Rivera, who was also a guest. So this is what we want to do. We want to focus in on you guys coming in. So bear with us. We're not changing the show completely. We're just changing some things around to be catered more to you guys. Yeah,
the whole thing that I like what Gil's point was just on, again, like he was talking about, just conversation and really digging in on specific topics. Instead of in the interviews, we're still thinking that we would still want to incorporate the guests, but not so much specifically interview based, because we want to dive into some topics. And
so if we do bring a guest, we probably want to make it close to the topic.
Yeah. So we're thinking like people who specialize in the topic that we're talking about. We introduce
like marketing. Them. Get somebody who's really well versed in marketing, so they can give you guys live pointers and things that they do, things that work, things that don't, things like that.
Yeah. So that's what we're thinking about moving forward. And the other part of that is the people jumping in on the live. So for my podcasters, you guys can hit me up with an email directly. But I also want to utilize the live sessions for us to interact with everybody jumping in and have that experience as well. Like right now, we're getting some comments, some shout outs, people jumping in. If you guys want to chime in and give us some input on what you think, or if you haven't seen us, well, welcome. This is show number 6, I think, technically right now. Me and my boy Gil, and we're now shifting gears to talk about things specifically. So for those that don't know who we are, me and Gil have been rocking together for a very, very long time. Since high school. And it wasn't until the end of high school where Gil and I became tight. And from that point, when we graduated together, we stuck together because of the music. And then eventually, I was performing, and Gil, naturally, I don't know how, but he remembered all my verses. So I was like, yo, Gil, why don't you join me and be my hype man? So we started performing at different clubs or whatever, and Gil was my hype man. We got the attention of a local record label called Straight Up Entertainment, which ended up signing me on for a 2-year contract. And Gil, I eventually convinced the CEO of that label to sign up Gil. And then Gil came on board, and then we were creating music together out in Boston, in studio Boston Skyline. We were, we got introduced to a lot of, mainstream artists that a lot of people are familiar with. And I'm not going to be name dropping, nothing like that. But we got exposed to a lot of stuff, and we were coming up fast in that time. But the Lord intervened, changed my heart. But Amen. Even in that time, me and Gil were performing together. Gil was with me the whole way before I was a Christian, before he was a Christian, and we were just out there in the world just pursuing all the desires of our flesh, man, and just trying to chase that dream to blow up, rich and famous kind of thing. Lord intervened, changed us, and then after I think it was like a few months I was saved, I gave Gil the gospel. The Lord saved Gil, right? A few months.
I want to say it was a little bit longer than that, because I remember there was a time that I ghosted. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I was ghosted. It was longer than 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
I want to say almost a year that we were kind of like,
wow,
like you was doing you and I was doing me. It was almost, I want to say like 6 to 8 months of like no connection.
Yeah, and I remember I was really concerned for you.
I think that's exactly why you were concerned, because I was ghosted.
Yeah, bro. You're right. And then eventually I gave, I talked to you, and I told you about, Christ. I told you about sin. I told you about where you stand. The stuff that you knew.
Which is crazy. I grew up.
Because you grew up in the church. Yeah.
My mom used to pray to, pray for us and share the gospel with us all the time. And I remember saying that to you, like, bro, really?
Yeah. You were like,
really
come
gonna
on,
try
man.
to kick me
Don't
some
preach
stuff.
to me. I know this stuff.
I could probably preach to you.
Right.
Like, and then you just, which is something that I'll never forget, like relentless, and you just kept giving me the gospel until one day God opened up my heart and changed my life. You know what I mean? So that's a really cool story. Not many people can really speak on that they got saved with their best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then continued.
Exactly. Not even just saved with your best friend, but then you join forces musically.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a crazy story.
A podcast, a show. Yeah, so Gil has been rocking with me for a long time, and we've been doing this music thing for a long time.
Those who don't know, I sing. I don't rap.
Yeah, he sings. And then when we got together at the same church, we started going to the same church, and when the Lord saved us both, it was shortly after that where we got introduced to Christian hip hop. I never knew about that stuff, so I came in the game late. I was already like, I still to this day don't know a lot of the pioneers and some of the artists that were out before I became saved.
Facts.
So I came in real late. But when I came in, Gil and I, since we were already performing before, we were learning as much as we can under the church and reading the Bible and learning about theology and things like that. And shortly after, it was a solid year and a half of us just studying, and we didn't care about music or anything like that. Yeah. And then shortly after that year and a half, is when I got introduced to Christian hip hop, and we're like, yo, why not? Yo, let's do this. Like, we can still do what we love to do.
And even then, we had a project and we threw it away because it wasn't 100%.
Yeah, so
biblical.
even then, we were trying to create, I guess you say, like a Christian hip hop album. And Gil invested in me, and Gil was also involved with the project too. And we were going to a studio recording. And as we were learning the Bible, we realized that a lot of our theological beliefs at that time were wrong. So we had to throw away a whole album worth of music and start from scratch. And actually, before we jumped in to do music, we went in and started digging into theology and things that we needed to refresh, not even refresh, but learn more about and dive in more deeper to get that understanding of what it is that we actually believe. Because when I became Christian, I didn't know theology. I didn't know doctrine. I didn't know any of that. You know, like there was no the doctrines of grace. There was no doctrines at all. I didn't know the proper terms of anything. All I knew was I'm a sinner. I need Christ. Christ is the only way.
We didn't know the
gospel.
basics.
I knew enough to know I was done for if I didn't believe in Christ. I knew enough to know that.
I think the part that we struggled with was like the self-glorification parts of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, putting our own strength ahead of what God has done.
Right.
You know, and really understanding what is the difference between what God does in someone's life and what is our part.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like sovereignty of God, the will of man, all those things that, as you grow in your faith, you come to learn, hopefully, if you're under a church that preaches the word. And so we got into the music game, and we were just doing our own thing. We didn't know anybody. I wasn't familiar with any of the artists, any of the platforms. There was only one dude that was in my circle that knew about Christian hip hop and was actually affiliated, and that was BM2, Ben Mercedes.
Ben Mercedes, shout
out to Ben. And Ben Mercedes, BM2, was knew a lot of them guys because he was a music producer. He would create beats, and he would sell beats to these artists, and he also knew how to work the cam. So he would come to the shows and the events, and he would take pictures, and he got into videography. So he would provide those services, and every time he went to a concert to do that, he was like, "Yo, Marrio, you want to come through? Yo, Marrio," and he's kind of like the one who introduced me to Christian hip hop as far as the industry goes, like the industry heads, the artists, and the people putting on the shows and stuff like that. So I was never intrigued by any of that stuff. Like, my whole thing was ministry focused, right? Like, the whole thing was like, my first project that I did as a Christian hip hop artist was Tulip, Doctrines of Grace. Yep. Based on Calvinism. That's what I went with. That's what we were learning at the time, and we just pretty much rejuvenated is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah, we pretty much rejuvenated everything we were learning and put it on a beat, and threw out Tulip, Doctrines of Grace. We did an album release. Shortly after, we worked on Gil's project, and we were by ourselves.
Yeah.
And we had this thing called Death to Life. We wanted to be a group and a label. We were like, yo, let's be like with Death to Life. And we tried to do this thing called Theology 24, where Theology 24, I think it was every other week or something, like every 2 weeks we would drop something about theology, and we just wanted to drop a single every 2 or 3. I forgot what it was, but we wanted to drop a single often throughout the year, and it was called Theology 24, and we talk about something different.
We actually took a book, and every single one we broke apart, but that book was no joke.
What up, Kev Young? What's up, brother?
What up, Kev Young? That's my
Shane,
brother.
what's good, man? What's up, everybody? Coming in. Yo, we're following your comments too, so let us know. I see Shane, I see the lights. That's what's up, brother. Let us know, man, because we're following through, but we're just pretty much giving an update on the show, on some things we want to switch up and change up, and we also want to converse with you guys a lot more So on the live, so just leave your comments. Keep them. You know what I don't like to do? Take a break and leave everyone to ask a question, because a lot of people shy away from asking questions at that moment. So just leave your comments, and we're gonna try to do our best to follow through as everyone jumps in. So welcome everybody to the show. So right now we're just discussing a little bit about how me and Gil came up to this very point on this live.
It's important, so that way you guys know what our motives are, and why we decided to do this. So as Marrio was saying, we did all the, from secular to Christian. We've learned a ton of what it is like to be in a label, to what it's like to be 110% by yourself, funding your projects. And that's actually the essence of why we want to do this. Not only to inform non-artists and give you guys an insight on what we go through.
Hold on. Slow.
Oh, my bad.
Slow. So here we are.
You really want to get detailed?
No, we got to get detailed.
All right.
They need to. You know what? A few people might come back to this show and be like, all right, where was the pivot?
Oh,
where was
okay.
the pivot
That's
of
true.
that
That's
show,
true.
and what was the motive? How did they all come to
true.
be? Because we're going to talk about some things too. So if you're chiming in, we are going to talk about some things.
Oh, shoot, Shane. My shirt, this right here is a glaze.
Wow.
It's from Glade.
Sorry,
the Glade candles.
glazed.
This is right here, Grace and Glory. This is Grace and Glory right here. If you guys check them out, graceandglory.com. There's dope.
Shout out to Grace
Christian
and Glory.
clothing. They're off the chain.
And those are good dudes, solid brothers. What's up, Michael?
And it
How you
says,
doing, Leslie?
I am nobody.
How are you? People jumping in. What up, everybody?
Michael Furos was good.
What's going on? So we talking about what up, Antonio? What's up, brother? Oh, that's my cuz. What's up, cuz? So we talking about so now here we are, new to this whole thing.
Yep.
And we're just trying to figure out our way through the industry. Well, we didn't know it was an industry. We were thinking solely ministry at that point. At that point, we were like, it was strictly in our minds. It was strictly serving, and doing ministry work. That's what our motive was at that time.
Yep.
And then as I grew and as we grew in the faith, and just matured, I had my family was growing. Gil was, has his family, and his family was growing as well. And Gil got married and has this little one. And as we got older and more mature, at that time we were thinking, what, ministry driven. At some point we're gonna be pastors. Like, straight up. Come on. Like,
and I'm sure all
point,
you reformers know that when you start getting into that reform theology, you just want to be a pastor.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
I'm sure there's a lot of people. Well, I'm not gonna be biased and just say only reformers, but I'm just saying that's my experience as a reformer,
and especially our circle. Maybe it has to be with the influence too, but our circle was heavy on theology, and it was like a battle. It was almost competitive. There's like 5 of us or 6 of us at a time, and everyone's like, "Oh, so do you know the 5 points?"
Which is cool, but there's some negativity behind that too, because like you start saying stuff like, "Man, I hate it when it rains," and then you got the dude like, "You are questioning the sovereignty of God."
Wow.
And you're like, dang.
Why did the sea just part?
Seriously, I just said I don't like the rain.
The sea just parted.
Like, dang, it don't got to be that serious. You ain't got to give me a whole sermon now just because I said I don't like the rain.
From heavens. Excuse me. Thou shalt not pass. Wait, that's not scripture.
Like, don't be talking about God's sovereignty now.
Don't.
Like, where you get sovereignty
from?
I hate the rain.
Not mocking it, but it's real talk.
No,
it's real talk.
It is.
Like, we had that circle, so that was in our mind. But the Lord over time showed me and Gil, I could say, because we talk all the time, and I could say, like, I knew for sure there was a realization point for me where I realized how important that call is to be a preacher and a pastor.
It's no joke.
It's no joke. And as I continue to learn about it, and I started taking classes in my church for it, and I started going through that process, I quickly realized, like, I'm not gonna fake the funk, man, and pretend like I'm something.
And y'all don't know this. I'm about to give you guys an insider.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
There's an original sermon out there.
Hold up, let me get
by
the mute
Marrio
button just
Esco.
in case. Let me get the mute button.
Because he took a sermon class, and there's an actual sermon out there. There's
there is a sermon.
Out there. Oh,
Matter of fact, I sampled myself.
I know you did. He sampled this.
That's how
he
prideful
sampled
I am.
himself on a track. But that's
sample
we
this.
digress. But there is a sermon out
We digress. I'm glad you're speaking for me. Thanks.
Because we weren't really talking about you preaching,
We
but
digress.
there is a sermon out there.
Yeah, there's a sermon flowing around. So I quickly realized, you know what? This ain't my call. I can't pretend with this. This is not a joke. This is not something I can take lightly. And so it left me with, okay, what am I doing this rap thing for? Because I still enjoyed doing the rap thing. I still enjoyed creating music. I still wanted to glorify God with music. But I wanted to, how you call it? Hone in on my...
Like your craft?
Yeah. So I wanted to hone in on my craft and my skill, and I still wanted to sharpen my skill and get better. I wanted to mature as an artist, as a songwriter, as an audio engineer, mixing and mastering, doing all that kind of stuff. And then I got introduced to film. I fell in love with that. I wanted to, start, and I started writing scripts and doing all that. I just fell in love with all types of creative industries, I guess, if you will, mainly just film and music, but then as independent artists, right, as independent creative content creators, you come to realize real quick that a lot of this stuff, first of all, is expensive. The gear that it takes, the microphones, the camera that we're on right now,
and even if you don't do it yourself and you go to a studio, you spending anywhere from $60 to $100 an hour, depending on the
real talk.
And that's
just recording.
Yeah, and even that's cheap.
Yeah, so you're just going in paying like at around 45 to 60, depending on which studio you go to, and that's an hour. Rappers can bang it out. Probably a whole album if you got everything lined up and ready to go, and you're just tracking your vocals. You could probably get in there and bang out in maybe 3 days top, maybe 4-hour sessions each. Go in, and that's just tracking your vocals.
And keep in mind, $60 to $100. 4 hours, that's $400 a session.
Then you're talking about mixing. You're talking about mastering. You're not even talking about promo. Marketing, you're not even talking about photo artwork, you're not talking about any of those other things. So over time, long story short, you quickly realize that this is an investment.
Huge.
As you mature in your age and you got a family to provide for, and you got, you're married, and you're thinking about these things, you quickly start thinking this kind of doesn't make sense, putting this much work in, and you want to find a way to create something that's sustainable and makes sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, anybody listening that's mature and has bills to pay and has a family can understand that.
Whether you're trying to do ministry or you're trying to do this as a business, as a Christian, either way, there has to be some level of finances or income coming in, because I don't care what you say. If you're saying I do this strictly for ministry, there's no way you're able to afford all this stuff. And not get nothing in return and continue. Yeah.
So on top of learning the camera gear, the microphones, the live, the music, the artwork, because we're independent.
Yep.
And we're trying to figure out how to maneuver within this industry and how to make sense out of it all. You know what I'm saying? So we started looking up music business. And this is when we started studying entrepreneurship.
Yep.
This is when we started studying marketing strategies, promotion, not in a way to manipulate, because I know a lot of people frown upon that in business and ministry. Oh, they frown upon these things. But we came to realize that, you know what? We're not called to be pastors. I'm not going to I'm going to spit my bars. Right true. I'm not going to spit my bars and then I'm going to do a sermon, because I'm not called to do that. Now, my pastor says that we should always be ready to step up and preach.
Always.
So I'm not knocking that. Yeah. With my family. If you're a man here, you got a family, your wife and kids, like that's your responsibility. So yeah, of course, I am, I guess in a sense, a pastor in my home. To my first church, which is my family.
I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, I won't take the credit for that. That's pure. That's the Puritan said. Somebody said that back in the day when I used to be one of those guys. Thou shalt not pass.
Thumping on those mics. That's crazy. I still got paper cuts.
But anyway, so we started studying up on music business and entrepreneurship, and as Christians maturing, we just wanted to provide valuable content. We wanted to get better at our craft and our ability to perform and give people entertainment, but with purpose. Again, my motto: to entertain with purpose. That's my thing. And as we continue to unfold and go through this journey, you start getting introduced naturally to other creatives, other platforms, other labels, other marketing platforms, other media sites, and you start getting introduced to
and just to kind of
the
give
industry side of things.
A timeline. We're still learning. Like we haven't perfected this. We're not like, you know, because I don't want you guys to now go to our pages and be like, y'all following ain't crazy. What kind of studying y'all doing? We're still learning, and the motive to this is we want to share with you guys what we're learning as we're implementing it ourselves. So you're actually going to get to see our growth as we start implementing these strategies and techniques and stuff like that. So
you know what though, I get what Gil's you and you'll see that too. Like those who follow us,
I hate it when people just talk about like marketing skills and techniques, and then you go to their page and it's
no, but it's not even that. It's not even like masters. It's learning. You know, it's learning. It's studying, and we're studying and we're learning. And as we continue to study and learn, right? Just the music industry aspect of things, you know, and the politics that come with it as well, and the experiences. Of letdown, surprise,
Speak on it,
especially within a Christian hip hop. I don't want to call it industry. I'm not.
Why is that?
There's some stuff that I like to say, but
why do you not want to call it industry?
So check this out. Listen up. Listen up, y'all.
I've been dying to get into this.
Listen up, y'all. All right. So
some gems.
As we continued, right, and I'm like, oh, and you get introduced to this genre. Mm-hmm. You no longer, you know, the kid who's just trying to rap and perform. You are now in the inn. You know what I'm saying? And people, as a matter of fact, people know that I was affiliated with Wrath and Grace. This has nothing to do with Wrath and Grace. Shout out to Wrath and Grace. I love them brothers. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to Luke Walker. Shout out to Omri. Shout out to
brothers.
Shout out to oh my goodness, I got your name. I got your name, bro. Man, my brother, man. Jay.
You got Omri.
I can't believe it, man. I'm sorry, bro.
Luke.
I'm gonna do this right now.
You gonna call him?
Where he at? I'm gonna call him. Frankie. My brother how can I forget Frankie, man?
Frankie's the man.
Yo, Frankie's the man. Shout out to Frankie. I love Frankie.
Shout out to Abner, who's chiming in. Abner, I'm trying to get him to talk about it, but he's tiptoeing right now.
I'm not tiptoeing. I'm trying to be cautious because I want people to know that, because people know I was affiliated with Wrath and Grace, and they're family. They're still family.
Oh no, I'm talking about Wrath and Grace.
I know, but as I talk about the industry, like some people, I'll tell you right now. I said some things. He said, "Stop playing." I said, "What up, brother? What up, man?" I said some things that confused a few people, and I'll say it because it's not even something that Christ-centric, Christ-centric. Shout out to Christ-centric.
Shout
solid
out to
ministry,
dope
with
dudes.
solid brothers. Yeah, Strack just put out a project. Go check that out.
Yo, Strack, that last track
that
you
was
put
fire,
out
bro.
is ridiculous.
And I still got a copy, bro. I'm not gonna front.
For real.
Frankie, he said Frankie. Yo, so I said some things. I put out some posts, right, that offended a lot of brothers, and my boy from Christ Centric was one of them, and he's a solid brother, and he thought. And you know, my post wasn't super clear, so yeah, I took responsibility for that. But we spoke, and he said, you know, he told me, he's like, listen, when you talk about CHH, you're talking about a category, a genre that I embrace. and we talked on the phone and we chopped it up, and I heard him out. I heard his whole perspective on CHH, and I understood how he confused what I was saying, and I understood his desire, like why he wanted to embrace that title. It was the post that I said I'm divorcing the title CHH. I put out a post. I was, I got aggravated with everything that I was seeing.
That thing went wild, bro.
Yeah, I know. Usually it does.
That post went wild.
But I said a few things.
I didn't know you were married.
Wow.
So I didn't even know you was married.
I said I'm divorcing the title, and everyone automatically assumed it was one of those guys that were like walking away from the faith. That's how crazy it is. I could have said I'm retiring. Like it could have been my retirement thing. Legit. And people are like, oh my goodness, he's apostate. He put the microphone down.
For real.
He walked away from the faith. But you would swear I did. Like I was like, man, like.
I mean, for those who didn't understand though, like
no, but that's
from the outside. You hear a comment like that. Yeah. I'm divorcing a genre. Like you are gonna think that. You are gonna be like, yo, this dude just straight up became an apostate.
I can see that. I could definitely see that. But that wasn't my thing. My thing was politics. So in my mind, as we unravel this story, in my mind, I began to see CHH as strictly industry.
Yeah.
Check this. Yo, I hope y'all following me right now. I hope people up in here.
When we had this conversation, it blew my mind. So you guys got to listen to this because I never really thought of CHH like this.
Yeah, because I've been analyzing. Now, God in his sovereignty didn't allow me. I don't have a platform like these guys do. You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk about even the reform guys like Shylin, like even they got it, and then you got the bigger guys that are industry like Lecrae and Andy Mineo and all them cats, right? I'm like down here, like I'm known, but I'm nowhere near touching their level of known.
Yeah.
So I feel like in God's sovereignty, he allowed me to be seeing everything at my level.
Okay.
Because I got a very unbiased opinion here because I'm down at the bottom. There's no threat or no kind of, I don't have a following to that point where I'm like not bothered by anything below everything that I'm doing. I'm not saying that anybody's prideful, but when you're blessing so many people and you got, you're established artists and you're doing your thing, you're not really thinking about the struggles or anything like you're just thinking, let me keep it biblical, which is, I'm not complaining about that. I'm just giving you the perspective of where I'm at and how I'm seeing things at this level. You know what I'm saying? And trying to struggle to get a name. Like, hey, what's up, man? Can you get a collab? You want a collab? I need a cosign. All the dudes looking for cosigns.
Did you use that voice when you?
I felt like it. I felt like I felt like we were in Times Square, and I was one of those dudes trying to get people to.
I wish I could hear that call
to pay me for an autograph.
Can I get a collab?
I was like, when the dude give you the mixtape and he signs it and he says, yo. That's $1.
Yo, that happened to us, man. Is that why you saying that?
He signed it.
Yo, he
gave it to me.
This dude on the street. We went to New York for my birthday,
this dude
right?
Is a hustler, man.
We go to New York for my birthday. This just happened. This last weekend.
Yo, Abner, take notes.
Yo, for real. Don't be this artist. I don't know if he's in here. So we go to New York, right? And this dude is like, "Yo, man, can you support us?" And I'm used to that. There's hustlers all over New York. So he gives us a CD, and he goes, "Yo, man, can you just donate $1, whatever?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "All right, I got you. I understand, I'm artist myself, so I give him $1. You know what I mean for the album."
Here we go.
But the dude that Mario got, he straight up gave him a signed CD. He said, "Yo, but I signed it."
Yo, he put it in my hands.
I'm like, what kind of incentive is that?
He signed it. He put it in my hands. He said, "Yo, here you go, man, $1."
Yo, I signed it.
And I said, I legit did not have, no lie.
That's the most fire sales pitch I've ever heard in my life.
Yo, no lie. Look at Mike. Mike says,
he said, yo, Abner said, I already sent y'all a copy with the graph, so y'all owe me.
He said, but I signed it.
Yo,
but I signed. And then
Mario just straight looked at the CD.
Time out. No. Time out.
The dude's like, yeah.
Time out.
I did sign it.
You know what this dude does? You know what he does? So I said, because I legit did not have cash. That's real talk. I did not have cash on me. I only carried my card. I didn't have no cash. So he's looking at me, give me $1, right? And I'm like, and my guy wasn't as tech savvy as yours that whipped out, the card reader.
Yo, that dude whipped that out quick.
My dude wasn't as tech savvy.
I don't even remember saying I don't have cash.
Yo,
he just took out the card reader like, I got you. And I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yo, so this dude says $1, right? And I'm like, yo, for real, bro, like, I don't have $1. My bad, I don't have $1. He sucked his teeth.
No.
Next time. And he snatches it out of my hand. Next time. And like walked away from me.
Like he made an appointment with you.
So now I'm sitting there like, give me $1 right now. This dude disrespecting me. Where's the card reader?
This is the first time you met him, and somehow he made an appointment with you. Next time.
Dude sucked his teeth and snatched it. Next time.
Did he take your phone and put an appointment in your phone?
Bro, he got mad at me, and I felt like I did something wrong. I was about to chase him with my own card reader. But like, yeah.
That's crazy. Dude.
What was the point of that?
Well, just the fact how artists just, they grind.
No, that was not the point.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yo, where we at?
I was trying to make sense of that.
Man, so anyway, so as I set a post. All right, let's get back to focus. I set a post. That's why we need bullets. I set a post. I set a post about CHH, Christian hip hop. I said, I'm divorcing this title. I offended a few brothers that were solid brothers.
Yeah, man.
Solid brothers. I love these brothers. And I had no idea that I would offend brothers that are solid brothers.
And that wasn't the intention anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but after we spoke, everything was clarified.
Yeah.
After we spoke, they was like, oh, they actually agreed with me. And they were like, oh, yeah. And then he gave me his side, and I was like, oh, I didn't even think of it like that. So now here's a brother. What's his name? Mike. What's his name? Verse. I'm sorry if I don't. Mike. He does some lives too about Christian hip hop. And I think he has a studio. I think he's from Florida. He has a studio down there. I think he had a label that he was running at one time, something snack bar or something like that. So Mike did a live, and he was talking about. I didn't know. Yo, peep this. So because everybody was on that post, right? I actually was like, why? I was trying to figure out like, well, what's going on? Because when I talked to this dude that was offended, a solid brother, he agreed with me. Yet his point was just as valid. And I'm like, but he agreed with me.
His point was more towards claiming CHH.
Yeah. So he's like embracing the title.
Yeah.
What it classifies, what it categorizes. Christian hip hop. He's like, yo, I'm a hip hop guy. I'm a Christian. The title is what it is. I'm looking at now. I'm wrestling at the time. I'm like, wait a minute. So then I'm confused myself, and this is where I came to realize, oh, so I'm thinking industry, because that's my beef. Like my problem is industry.
Yeah. So this was the point. We were gonna explain what happened with Marrio and the reason why he decided to divorce.
Right.
CHH.
Right.
Just so you guys know
I'm thinking industry. And then here's my brother saying genre, the definition, the word, what it defines. Right. And then this dude, Mike, shout out to Mike, by the way. I like what you do. Wait, you was going to explain what God revealed to you at your level. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about. All right, cool. Abner, follow me, brother, because I think it's important, bro. And there's so many layers to this thing. There's so many different layers to this thing. It's crazy.
There is,
but
especially once you hear what you're about to say, then you start to really.
And then it unfolds even on that level.
Yeah.
But this is what I came to realize. So here I am. I can't sleep. Right. I'm tossing and turning. And I'm just like, man, and I start scrolling through my phone. I pick up my phone, start scrolling, and I see Mike has a live. So I'm like, let me jump on this. I didn't think nothing. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. He had a live going, but I didn't want to be them dudes that jump in the live and then you want to bow out. So I was like, and he had another one that he did previously. So I hopped on that one. Let me hop on this one. And little did I know that this brother did a whole live talking about my post. I had no clue. No, I'm just hopping in. I'm like, let me see what this brother's talking about, and he's talking about CHH.
Oh,
and little
that was
did
the
I
one
know.
You sent me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And then he was talking about my post, so I was like, listening to what he was saying.
He did a good job.
He did a really good job, and what he came to say was CHH. And now I didn't know this. Christian hip hop originally started as a community.
Yeah.
That's what he said. There was a small group of hip hop heads that were Christian, and they all they wanted to pursue hip hop as a means to spread the good news. Amen. And it was a community of believers that loved hip hop, and they just wanted to utilize the platform to spread the good news. Yep. As an outreach thing. So it was I don't know if it was cross movement or who it was, but it was a group of Christians that started that as a community. So then that stuck in my head. So now here I am with this guy saying community. Here I am with my original beef thinking industry. And here's one of my solid brothers in Christ who's embracing the title and what it actually defines. So now I'm trying to wrestle with all this in my mind, and I'm trying to figure out like, wow, how does all this make sense? So what I came to realize was this: after giving it a lot of thought and really trying to analyze everything and doing some research and figuring out, the history of this thing, I come to realize that it was originally intended, and it still is sort of a community, because it's a bunch of like-minded, not everyone, but there's a lot of like-minded individuals, real Christians that are solid in their theology and that really do want to minister and proclaim the name. And there's even other ones that are just artists, and they just want to express themselves freely as an artist, but glorifying God and not selling out or compromising. So you still have that community sense. However, it grew. The Christian hip hop grew so rapidly. And then all these other rappers are springing up from everywhere, and it eventually became a community that couldn't be regulated, you know, and so it spread like wildfire, and now you have just a genre, and a genre it's a subgenre of hip hop. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be Christian and be like, oh, well, I'm not of the world. I'm not hip hop. It's a straight ministry. When you're rapping, you're rapping. I'm sorry.
Hip hop is hip hop.
You're hip hop. Like, that's hip hop. You utilize it. It doesn't matter how you want to, separate it. No, it's hip hop. And we are a category, subgenre under hip hop. And guess what? Hip hop is a category under music. Mm-hmm. So technically,
you got country, you got all these different styles. So hip hop,
it's just the umbrella. It's under music.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So hip hop is another category, and we're a subcategory under that. So you got the community, and it's still sort of community, those that are like-minded. But however, this thing spread like wildfire, and now you got reformed, you got charismatic, you got all these different denominations and sets, and then now you're getting exposed to theology. So now you got rappers that are like, oh, I don't rock with him. He's not theologically sound. So now you have
not enough theology.
Yeah. So now for the world, or for the average person, I don't care. I don't care what denomination you are. If you say Christ in your bars, you're Christian hip hop.
Yep.
I don't care if you're Catholic, if you're Reformed, I don't care what you are. Pentecost, I don't care. If you drop Christ in your rhymes, you are automatically Christian hip hop. Yep. That's where you fit. Right? So it's a genre. And my beef is with industry.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me try to wrap my head around this. A community I can understand. A Christian hip hop community I can completely understand. A Christian hip hop genre, I can completely understand. A Christian hip hop industry, it doesn't make sense to me.
But elaborate on that. I think just so that way people can understand.
Even hip hop, even if you say hip hop industry, even that to a certain extent doesn't make sense either, because they're all under music industry. What is your profession? What is it that you do? If I'm some kind of CEO, what is your profession? And I'm asking you, what is your profession? Either you're a musician or a recording artist.
Facts.
right? And then if you label it, I'm a Christian, that's just, now you're just giving yourself the category.
Yeah.
But if you're country, pop, you're a recording artist. Yeah. That's your profession. You're a recording artist. You're a performer, right? Or a songwriter or whatever it is. So in my mind, why do I have the sense of a Christian hip hop industry? That's my problem. Why is there a sense of a Christian hip hop industry? It's a music industry.
Yeah.
There's already an established regulations within the law, right? For music, regardless of what kind of artist you are.
It's just like law enforcement. You're a police officer, but you're a Christian. You can't say you're a Christian cop. You're a cop. You're a police officer.
Yeah.
You enforce the law.
Right.
Whether you're a Christian or not has no relevance.
It has no relevance. Yeah.
Because you're a police officer.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I'm only saying that just because it applies to any job or any position or any profession.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really matter whether you are a Christian or not. You are that.
Yeah.
So as a musician, there really is no Christian thing. It's just you are a musician.
Right. That's a fact.
Yeah. Okay.
So now,
just trying to say so that everybody can understand where your mind
where my
went.
head is at. Yeah.
Like why you were so disgusted with the word industry.
Yeah. And so I started thinking about the motive. First of all, I had to define what that thing was, because there's a dome, right? Yeah. There's a Christian hip hop industry. There's a dome there that's keeping this all in. And it's not intentional. It's not like some Illuminati stuff. It's not like this one guy is sitting there like, oh, we're going to create. It's a collective mindset. Christian hip hop is almost completely separated from the actual music industry. So you know what it's like? It's like me. I'm a construction guy. I want to start a construction business. And there's this dome that says if you want to start a construction business as a Christian, you have to do it under the Christian umbrella.
Yeah.
You can only build houses for Christians. You can only build churches. It has to have some kind of scriptural thing on it. It needs to have some kind of, scriptural mission statement. You get what I'm saying? If you want to start a business, and I say I want to start a music business, it doesn't fall under any umbrella other than music.
Yeah. And
you study the music business. But I kept seeing a whole bunch of Christian hip hop or Christian recording artists flowing into this dome. Yeah. Oh, you go over there.
Yeah.
And anything with the world automatically is sinful sellout. Automatically, anything with the world. Yep. You're gonna sign a distribution deal with Universal. Boom. You got the people throwing stones. You're gonna use that beat from SoundClick that guy used. Boom. Automatically throwing stones. And they didn't realize that type of judgment was pushing the artist to fall right in line into that Christian hip hop industry. They were following right in line into that industry that said you need to play by our rules, our way, the way we designed it. And anything outside of that is frowned upon. Anything outside of that is, we got a problem with that. You're selling out. And I feel personally like Lecrae, a lot of people call him sellout. A lot of people, I don't want to bring Lecrae up as the thing with, that's played out. Everybody already, went after that. But it's a great example because he went mainstream. That's why I use Lecrae, because he actually went mainstream. And I think what happened with him was that he's not following the rules that they're trying to set. He's not following the line anymore to that dome that says this is how you play. This is how these are the rules.
That's because people are so like, I want to say, like, their mindset is on that industry, something that really doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like the Christian industry really doesn't exist. You really are in the music industry.
You're in the music industry under the category of Christian, under the category of hip hop.
Yeah, and because they're so fixated that there is this Christian industry,
yeah,
that they're defending this thing that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and then you have people who capitalize on that. You have people and platforms that capitalize on that. I'm sorry, that's real. That's a fact.
Wow.
You know, that's a fact. And if you follow this thing and you see certain people that air certain things out that are very frustrated, you would see collectively there is this undertone that's floating around with a lot of artists that feel the same way.
Well, I remember having this conversation with you when we really got deep. And the thing that I love the most, and this is the dopest part, at least for me, this is what I took away from it the most that I still sit with to this day. The industry part that was disgusting, that he felt so strongly about, and when he shared it with me, I'm like, dang, I never really thought of it like that, was the fact that if you are a creative and you are a musician or anything, and you're a Christian, and you're doing this as an art form, and you're just producing good art, and you want to get paid for it, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are using your faith to get money, now you're exploiting Christianity, and that is the industry. Because what does industry do is that they exploit and they try to make money.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
This thing.
Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with making money as an artist. So this is how I told Gil.
And that right there,
this is how I told
me
Gil.
Was like, whoa.
Yeah, I told Gil, let's say you have a church. You have a church. And you have, let's say, a potterer in the church creating these clay
I love this
statues.
This is a great example.
Just follow me, please, to understand what I'm trying to say. So you have this potterer who's creating these clay statues in the church. And as the believers come in, he says to them, if you purchase this is for ministry, this is a blessing, this is made to sanctify and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he sells his stuff at the church for spiritual blessings and all these other extra things. We've seen the example that Christ gave when he came into the church and people were trying to profit off the faith. We've seen what happened. And straight up, oh my goodness, Gil, you're gonna get me started. Straight up,
this is what we need to do.
I don't care what anybody says. If you're an artist or even a fan and you've been to a show, Christian hip hop show or Christian show, there's been a time, if you've been to enough, where all of us at some point has been like, maybe not all the time and not everybody. However, there is a time, I'm sure, where you're like, there's a little bit of praise and worship. Too much
praise to the artist.
To the art.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of praise and worship to the art. And so you have that guy creating these clay objects, selling them in the church for spiritual, benefit. If Christ came into that church, he's profiting off the faith, he'll be flipping tables. Now, let's say down the street from that church, you have a Christian who's creating the
same thing.
Clay, biblical stories. Like he's just inspired by biblical stories and he wants to glorify God with his craft. But at the same time, he just wants to, he loves to stick with the biblical stories that inspire him. And he sells his clay
as strictly art.
As just, this is just something I created. This is the work I put in. Now, those are two guys, two potterers creating these clay artifacts and selling them. Yet, one of them's doing it for to profit off of the faith, and the other one's just profiting off of his skills and ability. There's a major difference between the two. Major difference between the two. And I'm not gonna sit back and try to act like I know the hearts of men. And I know, because I know very well I don't, obviously. I don't. But I also know that a lot of us are not blind. I know a lot of us can think critically. I know a lot of us can read between the lines sometimes. I'm not saying that that's what we got to go off of, but when you see enough and you witness enough, and people start spilling these things out of frustration, yeah, maybe it's unbiblical, maybe it's ungodly, maybe they should, pray about that before they air things out. But real talk is real talk, man, and it's too late. Let the cat out the bag. I seen it. Other people talk about it too. Just the shadiness. People who are profiting off the faith.
And we're talking about the dudes who be like, yo, buy this album, God's gonna bless you, or if you get this album, it's gonna sanctify you. Like, we're talking about the people who try to profit off of faith. You know what I mean? We just want to make sure that's clear. We're not talking about artists selling their music. We're talking about them selling it with these promises.
Well, not even just that. Not even just like the artist, but I'm talking about like the overall motive, like this. It's a hidden thing, and it's tricky because my beef is with industry. My beef is with anybody who's trying to profit off of faith. Facts. Point blank. There it is. You wanna know my intentions? You wanna know exactly what my problem is? That's my problem. People who are trying to profit off the faith. If you're trying to profit off of biblical subjects and just trying to edify the saints, and you put in you invested money into this project, and you should get paid for the work you put. Matter of fact, as a Christian, I should want to pay you. Man, brother, I want you to use this 20 and go, put that toward your next project. Keep blessing us. Facts. Stay faithful. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are monopolizing and taking full advantage of a genre, a style of music, and creating this illusion, this dome that in order for you to advance, you have to come through this. In order for you to be relevant, in order for you to have a voice or be covered or whatever, you have to go through this. You have to play the political game. You need to get in line. You need to wait your turn.
But
go ahead.
We are here to turn the tables around, and we want to share with you guys the other side of that. That it's not true. You don't need anybody to co-sign you.
There you go.
You don't need anybody to be the gatekeeper of your, future.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk with you guys as you guys walk with us on the truths that we have come across and the lies that we've seen. So stick with us. We're not gonna give too much today, because this is more about us really setting the tone, really, on what we're going to be covering and things that we want to really get into. But if you guys have other topics that you guys want us to cover as well, shoot them our way. We would love to hear you guys' thoughts and what you guys want us to cover. But yeah, that's our passion. You know what I mean? In regards to all the stuff that's happening right now in the genre that we're in, we don't claim to be Christian artists. And that's why we're making this clear, is because we are artists. Our music, because we're Christian, will reflect our beliefs. You're going to hear Christ. You're going to hear our love for Christ and what he's done for us and what we want him to do for you. But that's why we don't call ourselves Christian artists, because we feel that by labeling ourselves, we're trying to profit off of our faith and make you give us payment for our work because we're solely Christian artists, and that's disgusting.
And not only that, but what Gil's talking about is pretty much the motive of what we want. This is to bring it full circle to what our passions are, what our desire is, and we want to focus on Christian hip hop because we're Christian recording artists. Gil is a singer, but still he's in hip hop. I would classify him R&B hip hop, but
my music is definitely not the traditional worship music. I have to say.
And so what we want to do is not just talk about Christian hip hop, but talk about different subjects on our level, but close to, related to Christian hip hop and that genre. And I'm not going to say industry, but that genre. And we're hoping also to educate the fans and the supporters and those that don't understand the music industry, don't understand what's happening behind the scenes. These are things that you can pray for. These are things that you can be educated on and know how to support the artists that you love and that you're fans of. It doesn't even have to be us. It's just to educate you on these things that these people are going through, so that way you can know what's happening behind the scenes and what these artists are going through. And also for the creatives, the artists, or anybody in that space, we also want to cover things to help you guys as you go along. Like, where should you put your money? I'm not saying that you shouldn't spend your money. I'm saying you should save your money and spend it if you save up, and not spend it unwisely. If you got a family and stuff like that, obviously they come first. But if you do have money saved up to invest, where should you invest that money? As an artist. And I'm coming from a standpoint as a recording artist, as a songwriter, as an audio engineer. That's what I went to school for, audio production, which I took classes there. I'm studying the music industry all the time. I listen to podcasts all the time. I'm constantly doing my research and trying to figure it out along the way. And I have mentors too who are looking out and also coming alongside me to help me understand the industry. I'm not called to be a pastor. I am a Christian creative, and all I want to do is assist in the way that I know how to assist without crossing the line and being something that I'm not. I'm a creative. That's what I am. That's real talk. I love to create content that provides value. That's it. And as I learned along the way, I'm not going to close up my doors and act like my, I'm unreachable. I'm with the stars. That's not what I'm doing. The Lord in His sovereignty put me in my position to understand what it's like to be an unsupported artist. So I know what it's like. So I feel you. And as I learn along the way,
not even so much as the support too, but that feeling of not knowing what to do.
Or not knowing what to, the uneducated, the unsupported.
That sucks.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, I'm opening up the floodgates on education. Everything that I learned,
for real,
bro. I want you to know what kind of microphone you should invest in, what kind of mixing board your audio interface. I want you to invest in you. I want you to help you guys out to succeed in a way that is actually beneficial, not only to yourself as an artist, but also to the fans and the supporters that you're entertaining or blessing, edifying, so on and so forth, that you're serving. Go ahead, Gil. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say, like, this is dope, not just for the artists, but even those that are not artists and you guys are just watching, you guys will get the inside of what artists really go through and what artists do to create this content for you guys. For me, I'm not just an artist, but I'm also a listener as well. So I have this appreciation for these artists when I hear good quality music, because I know what they did to get that.
Right.
I know what they went through. I know the process. So it's great even for those who are not artists to know this, because that you're just going to appreciate your favorite artist that much more.
Yeah, that's real.
At least for me.
And like I said, man, if you guys have any questions, suggestions, whatever, I'm going to keep going. I don't care if there's 0 people. I don't care if there's negative 10 in here. I'm going to keep going. So you're going to see me. You're going to hear me unless you block me and unfollow me, whatever. But I'm going to keep going regardless. I'm going to keep speaking. I'm going to keep poking the bear. Like, I'm going to keep being a thorn in the side, man, because I just want I want us to move forward, man. I study a lot of the secular and I see how they move forward and advance, and I compare what I research there to the Christian hip hop genre and community, and I see a lot of blockades, and I think that we can break through these blockades if we're educated and we knock down these barriers where we think we're above everybody else and everyone's trying to save face and be a superstar and everybody's trying to be unreachable. Nah, cut that out. We're brothers and sisters. If we're brothers and sisters, we're available and we're able and we're here. So that's our motive.
I mean, and that's what was dope about this is like the stuff that we've learned, just to kind of give you guys a small gem. I'm gonna give this one gem. Are you cool with that?
All right, do your thing.
There's one gem, and the reason why I'm doing this is because this will also give even more light to why we're doing this. One of the tips that I want to give you guys, if you're an artist, is stop thinking so much on building this money empire and focus more on building a community of people who love you. I'm gonna give you guys just that one because there's gonna be plenty more that we're gonna do on this show, and we're gonna take things apart more.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Build a community of people who love you. Don't and if you can do that,
and love is not yes men.
Yeah, I'm talking about
love
people
is real
who really want to support
yeah.
you, who really love you, and if you can do that, if you can build a community of people who love you, you have no type of what's the word I'm looking for? Competition. There's no competition because you are finding people who love you. That's it. Simple as that. You can't get any more simpler than that. Find people who love you.
That's real. And find people who are going to actually educate you on some real stuff. And find people who are actually going to tell you the truth. Like for me, personally, I'm sure a few of you heard this, but I got people behind the scenes that I tell them every time I send my stuff for them to criticize and give me feedback. I tell them all the time, like, kill me. like, yo, give me the real, like, butcher me, hurt my feelings, And that's the way I improve. That's the way you're only going to improve when people are telling you where you need to improve and where you need to get better. And you can always grow in your craft and get better all the time. It's
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, man.
But we got a question.
Go ahead.
I have Danilo A. Oleros. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I apologize.
Oh, man.
Do y'all do live reviews on songs as far as content? And would you consider secular rap?
Are you a secular artist?
Danilo, are you a secular artist? Secular.
Are you secular? Seculese.
Are you a sexy artist?
Oh, wow. My bad.
No, but seriously, are you an artist or are you like?
How is that relevant? Isn't your wife in here? Leslie, you better get this, man. You better get.
No, but he's asking. So would we? I mean, live reviews.
Just send it, man.
I definitely
send
would
it
do
to
a live
music at
review.
marrioesco.com. I definitely will, man. Just don't be offended when I send you some scripture with it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a secular artist,
I'll definitely critique it with a critical ear, no doubt. But I'm also gonna critique it with a spiritual ear. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you guys want to send some material, I mean, that would be a cool like episode.
Yo, real talk though, I do want to do stuff like that.
He says, I used to do Christian rap for 12 years with 2.5. I'm not sure what that means. Can you elaborate on that? I'm not sure what that means. With 2.5?
Does he say anything else?
That's it. He just said, I used to do Christian rap for 12 years.
Yeah, man. Send it to music at marrioesco.com. 2 R's in my name. Music at Marrio Esco. Esco, ESCO, just the way it sounds. .com. And I'll definitely check it out. But that is something that we were talking about too. I know Mike does that, and I think that's pretty cool.
Come on, Danilo, you confusing me now.
Well, what happened?
He's like, but now I just do hip hop. Still about the word though. So you with us? You're not Christian rapper, like the title thing, but you talk about your faith.
Yeah.
You talk about God. Hey, that's what's up. Yeah, send it our way. We would love to. That's not really considered secular though. But we would love to hear it.
Yeah, so some of the other things that we want to do too is we want, this is later down the line. Pray for us.
Definitely.
We want to, upgrade the space, make it more appealing and more professional. We want to include.
Why are you talking smack about the AC, bro? This looks beautiful, man.
Yeah, it feels good. But we want to include like maybe a phone line that people can call in.
That's what I can't.
Like
wait
I want to do that too.
So dope. If you guys can just call in and be
any
like,
any ideas y'all come up with. Like that's my field right now. Like my field of work. I'm in IT, so I'm pretty tech savvy. But so whatever you guys like, come up. I know there's a way I could put up comments. Like, let me see. I know there's a way that I could put up like we could tag somebody's comment to put on here on the actual feed.
You mean like pin it?
Yeah, no, not even on the comments on the Facebook. I mean here on the screen, so I can do it here. So when people are watching, they can see the comments right on the screen.
Oh, that's
which I'm gonna do right now. Matter of fact, this is what I'm talking about. If you guys are watching, for those on the podcast, sorry, it's a picture of. See, I just did it right here, so you can see. Shout out to Track Stars. I did a snapshot of that. They showed love on one of the posts that I put out. So shout out to them for that. And as you can see, they're just showing love. And I'm so happy they hashtag Rapzilla too. So shout out to Track Stars. Thank you for that. But that's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah, this post is something that we're going to discuss on this show.
Yeah.
Like if you guys see that we're talking about no longer needing platforms, no longer needing these pay this and we guarantee you, fame, basically. Right. We are going to slowly but surely help you build whatever it is that you guys need to do what you guys got to do as artists.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be rappers or musicians. These techniques that we're going to divulge can go to anything. You can, if you are a poet, a Christian poet, if you are whatever, you can use these tactics and these techniques that we're implementing for any of your desires and passions that are advancing the kingdom of God.
Right. So yeah, those are some of the things we're going to be talking about, but we also want to improve. So if you guys think of any other ways, just hit us up. You hit me direct, man. I always try to be available if I'm there. I usually try to respond. I know if you guys follow some of my posts, I try to respond to every comment that somebody puts something down. So I try my best to follow up, and why not? I mean, I can right now. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to continue to do that. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. We just wanted to chop it up about the motives. We wanted to give the announcement on the direction that we're going to be going with the show now. Instead of doing the interviews every week, trying to find somebody to interview every week and all that, we want to talk and dive in deep on specific topics and subjects with a Christian worldview regarding business, entrepreneurship, music, stuff like that. And then every now and then, there's just some real talk. Just let's talk about stuff, and whatever you suggest. Like throw us suggestions, man. We're still trying to grow together and figure it out together. So let us know.
We want to just chop it up with you guys. You know what I mean? We don't want to just be this thing where we just are disconnected. And that's the reason what I was saying earlier about strictly doing interviews. We're not really talking with you guys. We're not building with you guys.
Right.
So we are going to have guests every now and then, but it's going to be about the information that we're trying to give to you guys.
Yes, sir.
So it's always going to be about y'all, and we love you all, and we love the support. And like Mario said, any subjects, email Mario. See the email again?
music@marrioesco.com.
Or
hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, hit up Gil. You can find us. We're accessible, and I'll leave a description to it for the podcasters who want to hit us up. music@marioesco, that's the best way. And I'll try to get on that right away. And I also want to give a shout out to Applejacks. He's going to be coming through too.
If y'all don't know about Applejacks,
yeah, this brother studies the music industry. He's another Christian brother, studies the music industry. He has classes available called Cookie Academics. I'll send a link. I'll send a link on the bottom. But he's going to be coming through to the show too and talking about his stuff that he provides. And like I say, he's a Christian brother, but he's very, very knowledgeable on the music business, distribution companies, different platforms, marketing, email marketing, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to have him on the show too. He's my mentor. Shout out to Applejacks. Shout out to the bar. I love you. I just did an interview with them recently, but they haven't dropped it yet. I don't know when that's gonna drop. I'll let y'all know. But shout out to them, man, for showing love. And it was about this show as well. We definitely love them brothers, man. Especially when they send hats and shirts. That's definitely a bonus.
For real. If you notice, I wear a hat every episode, except for like one or two, maybe. But if y'all send me a hat, man, the Lord's gonna bless you.
The Lord's gonna bless you.
Going old school with that with the Lord.
Anything else you want to tell these dudes? These brothers and sisters?
Just stay tuned with us. Mario got some new material coming.
Yes, sir.
We got some new stuff. I got some new material coming.
We got some new stuff.
We together got some music coming.
We're always working by God's grace. We're always, it just is what it is. Like, I enjoy this. I love just creating this stuff. I love creating like just anything creative. We're doing it. Skits are gonna come back. We're gonna have fun doing those.
Yeah,
projects are coming.
We definitely gonna be doing some skits.
Yeah. I'm healing. My toe is healing, so we're gonna get to work.
Yeah, right now we waiting on the whim of his toe.
Oh,
Once his toe is back in order, we'll be able to be a little bit more mobile. But yeah, if you guys like I said, any topics or anything, we would love to hear it. New stuff coming out, new music, new content, new skits. Just stick with us. This is only the beginning. Only the beginning.
All right, so with that said, man, we love you guys. Till next week, grace and peace. Take care, y'all. Love y'all.
Peace out.
If you're listening on the podcast, be sure to check out my Facebook music page, Marrio Esco 1. Again, 2 R's in my name, the number 1 at the end, Marrio Esco 1. Be sure to like and follow that page because I like to give updates on who I'll be interviewing and leave a description on what we'll be talking about. And I also like the real-time one-on-one back and forth interaction. If you don't have the time to join us on Facebook Live, be sure to check out my podcast. It's called Marrio Esco Live, 2 R's in my name. Again, you'll see the white silhouette of myself with the cross underneath. Be sure to subscribe to that and follow the link as well to whatever podcast you're using or however you're receiving the podcast, and leave us a review. We love to hear feedback. You can also hit me up at music@marrioesco.com and just hit me up with some feedback and ways that we can improve the show or the things that you like and enjoy. Any type of feedback will be highly appreciated. Grace and peace.